Alright, so here we are with the second video for the exterior elevations. Before we go in and add all the window details in the front porch, I want to go ahead and actually get all the exterior elevations drawn, at least the skeleton or the frame, you could say, and then we'll go back in and do all the details. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab all this and stretch it out wide. That's the this dark layer, of course, represents the grade, and this is the slab. For some reason they always seem to only give us about 8 inches of grade, which isn't realistic, so I usually move that down. The smallest we'll usually ever have is about 1.5 feet. And of course, if we had a topography map with contour lines, we could actually see the real grade. In some of our projects we do that. This one we do not have a topo map. So again, go back to the 0 layer. That's what I prefer anyway. And just going to grab this other gable here. These notes here, by the way, typically are put on the very farthest outer extremes, over on the left and the right, so I'm just going to put them over here for the moment. This one's going to kind of be in the way, so I'm just going to stretch these, put them up here. I don't like things to overlap, so just do a little bit of housekeeping here. Maybe put this up here. There's really no right or wrong, it's just a matter of how clean you want the drawing to be. Alright, so that cleaned up this area here. We know that the customers wanted the whole house to have 10-foot plates because they don't want any of these sloped ceilings in this area, so we already established this overhang on the left, so that is going to match. We're talking about this overhang on this side and this one over here. They're both 18-inch. It doesn't say 18-inch, but I know it is. So that is easy to place this on this side. Notice it is different from the main porch because of the pitch different, a 412, which we actually changed earlier to a 312. We'll be able to refine that a little later. Just comes up here, and since our brick frieze is yellow, I usually make these ends yellow as well. Let's see here. This is not going to actually exist. You'll see why in a moment. Let's go ahead and move this gable end to those lines. And it looks like both gables are going to be too small to fit this detail that used to be a part of the plan. Don't force anything to fit if it looks like it's not the wrong size. Alright, so trim all this off, trim this off, trim that off. And they went to a single 3060 window, so pull this down. And actually, you know what, we've already got this window, which has the stone at the bottom, and the window panes, so it would make a lot more sense just to copy this one straight over, like that. This is also the same window, 3060 and a 3060. The only difference is we may want this one to be a wainscot, similar to what we did on the left side. So I think that would be the smartest thing to do, just for some consistency's sake. So we'll still copy this, the edges of the window down. I'm going to go ahead and just copy the entire window. The only difference is when we add the wainscot, which again is this 2x6 and a 1x4, and we place this over here, this will get trimmed off, trim between the edges of the window. Let's see where this edge is. That's a stone edge right there. So that is actually going to be the edge. This edge right here is this edge right back here. And then this wainscot butts up against that. And this should be centered. Yeah, you can see it's centered. Then what we do is we come out on the upper portion above the wainscot, since this is the siding area, and do a 1x4. And then it will sit on top like that. Then when we do our masonry, we'll do stone here and siding here. Similar to what we did here, except that these windows didn't touch the wainscot. Alright, then we can look at our roof plan, which we've already drawn. We know that this edge here lines up there, so we can see we're in good shape here. That lines up correctly, and that lines up correctly. Where does this other roof go? So this roof, we have decided to bring all the way over to the side. So that will trim right here and right there. Now the only thing we could do differently is if we wanted, and I think I'm gonna do this, is to see how this gable sits fairly close to this this gable. In fact, I think there's something wrong here. That should be a 12-inch difference. This is the center of my gable. That is correct. This is the left edge, the outer edge of the big gable, and you can see that was not drawn in the right spot. Everything should match. Anyway, what I was saying is, it might look nice to match this on this side. So let's go ahead and just do that. And again, we're going to move this over 12 inches. What we can also do, just so that it's clear what's going on, is offset that another 12 inches. And then change this to be the same as this red dotted line. And that just kind of shows that that's where the wall is. We do the same thing right here. We'll actually end up doing that on all of these. And this should line up with the column down below. See how that lines up with the column? Because that's where the wall is sitting. Alright. I just realized another error. This siding is actually not going to butt into that column. It's actually going to butt into this stone right here. This piece right here. So that isn't shown right now. I need to add that in. Right there. So when we put the stone in here eventually, this stone goes all the way into this area. Now it's correct. And we'll just come over here, pull this up as well. Okay, so when we do this, we're actually going to end up changing the roof, all four of them, which isn't a big deal, but it's a little bit of inconvenience, but that's okay. I think this looks better, the way it's balanced on the left and the right. While I'm sitting here working, I noticed that we do have a problem with the our roof. You can see that our reveal here is that small, but on this left side it's a lot bigger. So the question is why? Well, we can look at the roof, figure out. It looks like our problem is just in where it's placed at the moment. Just going to take our three main points, the point where it hits the roof and then the ridge, and stretch this all the way up through and make sure they all match. So here's our problem right there. We're not at the right spot. So let's move this over to its correct location first, right there. And this one needs to move over as well. That's correct now. And then when we do this, this should end up being centered, as you can see it is. And then we can center all these windows in the the vent up there. All right. Incidentally, this ridge has not been updated yet, and it's not going to be until we draw one of these side elevations. But we know, based on the fact that we have a gap here, that this ridge is going to be higher than this gable. So just for kicks, we can just push it up here like this for now. We still don't know where that exactly is, and we could figure it out mathematically. But we do not need to. We'll worry about the exact location of some of these things, including this and this, when we do the side elevation. But let's fix this first. That's the most pressing thing at the moment, because we're going to need to fix all the roof plans. So we're actually going to erase all these and come back to the real roof plan, which is right here. So the way we do this is we need a piece of this wall plate, and we'll just grab this one here and put it right there. That's where that's going to be. Up underneath that roof is going to be a gable end wall, and it's going to run a certain distance. Don't know yet what it is. Let's just get rid of all this purlin for the moment. We can add it back later. Again, I like getting stuff out of the way. Confuses me. And then we know that this offset, the overhang, is 12 inches. So what we're going to create is this exact same zigzag thing right over here. And there's our zigzag. As a result, we do have to erase some of this roof, which again, that's okay. And there's going to be a point where this entire side of the roof is going to be a hip now, like this side. It's just a hip. It's right here. It's a sloped roof at a 12/7 slope. And since the back is a 12/7 slope, and the overhangs are this, well, they're going to be the same. No, this is the wrong overhang one. It's this one. So this is a 10-foot plate with an 18-inch overhang and a 7 and 12 pitch, and so is the back one. They're the exact same. So that means we can just draw a 45-degree angle right here, and then that hits this, and there we've got our roof. Okay. And then this will end right here. So you can see, if you look at the left and the right, they're very similar. Obviously this big hip roof in the back interrupts this whole thing, but this is the same concept. Now we can actually add a plate over here on this side, like this. Now how do we put the rafters back? Well, we just want to turn off everything else. Actually, we can do a command called layer isolate. L-A-Y-I-S-O-L-A-T-E. Well, maybe it's layer. Yeah, lay ISO is layer isolate. Click that and it'll just put that in. Now we can come back into rafters. And actually, just to keep it simple, what we can do is just put them in for now in a blue color, but still in the ridge layer. And you'll see what I mean in a second. So we're going to go 45 and a 192. And send it back. And so 45 means it's going to be this, 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 and that. And I just remembered I forgot to mark my rafter point, so that would be 18, 18. So this is our point we want it to base off of. So we're going to do that again, make sure we hit that point. So we're going to have 45, it's this one, 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 and this one, and specified origin right there. Okay. And then we're going to do a 315 here, 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 basically everywhere else. Alright, so then we're going to do, I think it's maybe it's layer unisolate, let's see. There it is, layer unisolate. And it'll bring back everything that we had. It's just a kind of a quick way of turning things off quickly, doing some work, and turning everything back on. Now that we're back on with everything, we'll grab these two hatches and just change them to the rafter layer. There, done. And I realize I made a mistake because it's supposed to be pulled from this corner, so we are going to undo everything. Don't laugh. And I'll just erase this. Sorry, I should have been paying attention to that. Let's see. 18. So right at that point is our spot. So again, we're going to do a hatch. 45 means it's this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and this one. Keep forgetting to pick that point. And then the 315. I should use it again, but just in case I like to click it twice. And here we go. Alright, so LAY uniso. There we go. So now we have our fixed roof. It's corrected for that. I'm going to bring it over here, erase this stuff, and we're going to block it again. And if you're going to block, you should be in the 0 layer. And just make up some stuff because we're not actually going to use this. You could also, there's a few other ways you could combine all these objects. Just make sure it's convert to block, and now it's a block, so we can move it quickly and easily. Just going to grab this, place it here, and then move it back down here where we were working on it before. And now you can see how this line should line up with what we have there, right there. So we're in good shape. You can see now that we're glancing at it, this matches this, so it looks a lot nicer. Looks more appropriate. Alright, so I think since we're here, let's go ahead and add these windows now. What we want to do is make sure that these windows are centered on these columns. And one thing I did when I was working on the floor plan is I just made sure that these columns were within an inch or so of being centered. Let's see if I can prove that. There's, oops, I don't want to be in the inches. I want to be in standard. And that should be David Weekley standard. There we go. Alright. 9-1, 9-2, 9-1. So that's within an inch. That's good. You can't get them all exact because, well, just try it and you'll see why. Alright, so we know that these windows are in the right, they should be in the right spot. We're about to find out if they are. We've got 11.5 inches and 10.5 inches. So we're just going to want to move these over a 1/2 inch. And you have to remember to actually come over here and do it on the main plan up here. Alright. And what's the window call out? More 3060. So it's the exact same windows here. And these are going to be all stone, 100% stone. We're not going to do a wainscot there. So that means we can copy this window right here. And whenever we have two windows right next to each other like this, instead of doing two separate window sills, we just combine it, make one long one. And what David Weekley likes to do a lot of these cases is, instead of running stone up the middle, they will just put a piece of 1x6 trim or 1x8 trim, or whatever it is, the distance. In this case it's a 4-inch, so that would be a piece of 1x4 trim, and it does look kind of nice. It makes it look more like one window. So what we'll do is come right here and just say 1x4 trim, and put the arrow right there, and then go to the top, and there I have that little connection. And then we will just we could do a mirror command, as long as you trust it that everything is centered. I know that this is centered because I checked it a moment ago. And a circle command says we're not centered, so we need to figure out why we're not centered. Let's just grab real quick all 4 columns, make sure the columns are in their spot. Yes, 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 yes. So the 4 columns are in the right spot. Was this in the center? Does it line up with the front door? Yeah, it does. Now let's just grab our window lines and see where it puts us. 1/2 inch off, which we knew was going to happen. We'll go back to the floor plan and move that one over 1/2 inch as well. So why is it not centered? Let's see. I am not sure why that's not centered. It looks pretty centered to me. Let's see, let's do a dimension here, 2'4", dimension here, 2'4". Here to here should be the same as here to here. Yeah, so something just isn't laying out right, but we know that it is right. So another thing you can do is draw a circle like this, and you can see how it does not touch. So I'm not going to take all the time to figure out what's going on here. I'm just going to center it. Let's just see here. That touches. What I'm doing is I'm looking here and here to see that they touch. And here. Yep, and here. Yeah, so I know that everything is centered. For some reason, the window's not. This is really driving me nuts. 9'1", 9'1". You're probably watching this screaming at me what the problem is. I don't even see it. Well, again, anyway, it's not super vital. As long as it's correct on the floor plan, that's 90% of the battle. I guess I could check these as well, make sure that the column thicknesses are the same. I know they are. 8'2" and 8'2". Oh well. It will be fine. One other thing that Weekley likes to do is all this space inside the doors and the windows also would be trim. In fact, they already have a note here, one by trim. So we just go to the 0 layer and change it to yellow, and then just draw these lines here and here and down and down. Continue that down like that. And then the right thing to do would be to come down here and actually draw a little brick stone ledge, just like the ones under the window, because there would be a little one there, just a little one. We'll see in a second what it looks like. So let's go ahead and hatch this now. Go to the brick layer, and we're just going to inherit properties. We'll go here, and here, here, and here, 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 and here. And that's all hatched. You can come in here and do this one as well. Now, if I just go and hatch right here, you'll see that the hatching matches to the right. And it would actually match to the left too if I had continued, if that column wasn't there. So there's two ways to prevent that from happening. One is to just change the scale. So if even I just changed it to 28, sorry, 28 there, you can see it's different. But it's the same as this one now because I made those 28. The other way is to change the specified origin and do something like where you always tell it to go to the top right. And so what that will do is for everything, for this area it's going to use this corner. And it's almost guaranteed with very few exceptions that every area that you use is going to have a different upper right hand corner. Like if I were to do a hatching here and then a hatching here, this upper corner looks the exact same as this. You see that little piece of stone? That's the same as this little piece of stone. But when they go next to each other, they don't line up because they would have to be in exact increments to each other. Very unlikely that would happen. The thing is, you always have to remember to do that. And sometimes going down here and clicking these two buttons, you forget. But that is my preferred method. I'm going to also just come over here real quick and hatch these as stone, but then change it, match properties to do siding. We don't want to put stone up here if we can avoid it, just because it's more expensive. And then we have this siding here as well. And again, match properties. I find that faster than actually changing all the settings over and over again. So this is very similar to what, oops, I forgot this one here. This is real similar to what the front will end up looking like when it's done. We still got to add all these notes back eventually, but we'll do that a little bit later. You can put a little 712 right there. But now we're going to move over to the side elevations. I don't believe the customers requested that the shutters be taken away, so I realize I forgot to add those back in. So, thinking here, just thinking. We should just probably come in and grab these real quick. Alright, so these are only 5 foot tall. So how do we make them fit? Well, we're going to explode it and stretch this down a foot. And then stretch this up 6 inches and this down 6 inches. And then just copy these until it looks right. It might make more sense just to come over here and create a block again, maybe in 0 layer, so that we can copy and paste these real fast. Convert to block, okay, and as long as it was in 0, everything stays in the layer that it was. Now I can just do mirror commands and copy commands pretty fast. We're going to have to trim the ends around some of these columns, but we'll do that after we get them all placed. And then we'll go ahead and skip this window because it's a different style. I think it looks better maybe without the shutters, just to be the one non-conformist, you could say. If the customer wants it, we'll add it back. And we just trimmed all that away. You do have to explode. It won't trim otherwise, so exploding that. Oops. Okay. Over here, explode. And I keep forgetting that this outer line was a poly line, so if I trim it here, it stays put. But if I zoom in and trim it, it gets rid of, well, it didn't that time. If I select that line and trim, it gets rid of everything below it too. So we've got to be careful to make sure you keep in mind where the poly lines are. There we go. And then we can add, we'll do the brick again. Another thing you can do just to save a little bit of time is when you're about to do the masonry, just grab this and move it down some increment that you always use. I always use 111 because it's easy to hit 111 3 times really fast. And that way that's out of your way and you can actually hatch a little quicker. So we're going to do the limestone again. And it's set for the top right. So we'll just do here. Here, 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 and here. So now it's going to take, of all these, it's going to use this as the top right because it's all one hatch. Okay? And now I'm going to do here and here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. And that used this as the top right. As you can see, we don't have any problems with them overlapping. It kind of matches, but that's more some of them line up, some of them don't. There, and then we can move this back. 111. Alright, so that looks good. Come over and stretch this back. And the front is pretty much done with the exception of some details to add later. So I'm going to pause this video for the moment and proceed to the side elevations in the next video.